Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, creepy horror, sexy cowboys and a surprisingly good short story collection. It's my weekly wrap-up. Before I get into the wrap-up proper, just a little bit of housekeeping. So you may notice a change to the visual style of my videos and also my thumbnails in the next couple of weeks. So I've got a new camera, I've got some new software, I'm just experimenting with some different things. I think the style of today's video, like the visual style, is the one that I'm going to end up adopting. So let me know in the comments what you think of it. I am also now simultaneously publishing most of my YouTube videos on TikTok. So if you're someone who prefers TikTok to YouTube, you can follow me there and get pretty much the same content there. It won't be exactly the same, but a lot of it will be the same. Okay, let's talk about what I've been reading this week. So I finished 4 books this week. One of them was a dud, but the other 3 were all good to varying degrees. One of them was surprisingly good. One of them was a book that I didn't expect to be fantastic, but it was actually really, really enjoyable. So let me go through them in the order that I read them. So the first thing I finished was this, Apartment 16 by Adam Nevill, which was great. Really, really creepy. I'm increasingly becoming a huge admirer of Adam Nevill's work, being someone who's only come to his stuff recently. So he's been writing for quite a while now, but it's only in the last couple of years that I've started reading him. I think he's great. I think he's really, really good. He has a very skilled touch at writing horror, and this was no exception. Really, really creepy. So it's set in an apartment building in London where there is weird stuff going on. It centres on 2 characters. April, who's a young American woman who's come over to put into order the effects of her great aunt who lived in the building and has died, and Seth, who's a security guard who works in the building. So you get kind of their 2 interweaving stories as they dig into the creepy stuff that's going on in the building. Seth definitely gets more of the creepy stuff in like the early parts of the book, but by the end it's super creepy for both of them. So I really, really enjoyed this. Very skillfully done, very tense, very exciting, and some very, very weird imagery in this book as well. So definitely recommended if you like that kind of thing. I will probably be doing a full review of this video in the next couple of weeks. Sorry, of this book in the next couple of weeks. After that, then, the surprise of the week. So this was a short story collection based on the video game Noire, which came out, I think, kind of 10 plus years ago now. So I've had this collection digitally for ages and had just never got around to reading it. But I'm so glad I did. It was really great. So Noire, if you don't know, is a video game that kind of pays homage to kind of noir movies and novels and things like that. So kind of dark, hard-boiled crime style of writing. So there were, I think, 8 stories in this collection. Most of them, they weren't all fantastic, but most of them were at least good, and a couple of them were absolutely brilliant. So some great writers in there, writers I really, really, really admire. So Lawrence Block, Joe R. Lansdale, Megan Abbott all had stories in there. The 2 standout stories for me were one by Joyce Carol Oates, which was about a friendship between Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Short, who was the victim of the Black Dahlia murders. A very strange story, but really, really effectively done. I thought it was fantastic. And the other one was by an author I hadn't heard of before, called Francine Prose. This was just a great, short, punchy, hard-boiled story about a class that actors can go to learn how to be convincing murderers. It was just really, really well done. It reminded me of the kind of EC horror comics style of storytelling. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't read this collection and you like those authors, or you like that style of hard-boiled crime, I definitely recommend checking it out. After that then was the dud of the week. This was Neil Simon's Murder by Death by H.R.F. Keating. So this is the novelisation of a movie that came out in the 70s, which is one of those like comedy movies with an all-star cast. So it had like Peter Sellers, Peter Falk, Truman Capote, Maggie Smith, so some really, really great actors in it. And Neil Simon, a very well-known playwright and screenwriter who I think of as being like a kind of cool New York liberal kind of a guy. This was just bad. I watched the trailer for the movie and it's dated horrifically. It's really, really quite offensive. Peter Sellers, for example, plays a Chinese character, so you get a sense of the style of humour, and the fact that it is dated so badly. So the concept is there's this millionaire who hates mystery novels, and he invites a group of famous detectives to come and have dinner in his mansion, and to solve a crime, to solve a murder. So the different detectives are all based on like real fictional detectives, if that makes sense. So there's like a Hercule Poirot, there's a Miss Marple, there's a Charlie Chan, for example, and so on. But it just didn't work. I suspect the movie may work better because you've got these great actors, performing the roles and speaking the lines. There were some individual lines in this book that were, funny individually, but as a whole, it just really didn't work as a novelisation. I would be kind of interested to see the movie to see if it comes across better. Certainly, a few people in the comments have said they remember the film quite fondly, but yeah, I did not enjoy this at all. After that, I read a quick bit of cowboy trash, which was very entertaining. So this was the Gunsmith book I'll put my teeth in. The Gunsmith book 319, Out of the Past by J.R. Roberts. So J.R. Roberts is a pseudonym for an author called Robert Randisi. I always assume with books like this that are like in series that are incredibly long. There are over 500 books in total in the Gunsmith series, so it's still going now. The Gunsmith series itself is up to about 490, I think, but there's a couple of spin-off series. So there's Gunsmith Giant, which are just like thicker versions of Gunsmith stories, and then there's Lady Gunsmith as well. So if you count all of those, there's over 500 books. And it looks like Robert Randisi has actually written the vast majority of them, which is insane. I mean, they're very, very formulaic based on this one, but still to have written that many books is really quite crazy. So this is fun. So the Gunsmith is this kind of typical cowboy type character. In this one, he gets approached by this young woman, this teenage girl, who claims he's her father. Her mother, who's a woman he remembers from past adventures, has been murdered, and he, kind of picks up the trail and goes to investigate her murder. And it was just a fun mix of kind of mystery and cowboy stuff. There's a bit of smut in here, so there's a couple of sexy scenes. It was just overall just a fun, undemanding read, the kind of thing I really, really enjoy sometimes. So I enjoyed that a lot. I'm currently reading then a book by an author who's like a lot of people really, really like, but I hadn't got around to reading yet. That's CJ Tudor. So I'm reading her book, The Gathering, which is a vampire novel, which I'm really enjoying so far. I'm about kind of 60% through. It's got a really interesting concept. So it's set in Alaska, and the concept is that vampires are real, but there is, and they tend to live on kind of reservations, so they tend to live separate from the rest of humanity. There's very few vampires left, but there are these small kind of colonies of vampires around the place. So, and they live kind of side by side with humanity in kind of an uneasy peace, I guess. So there has been a murder in this small Alaskan town, and it looks like it's a vampire murder. And the central detective, who's a woman who is like a vampire anthropologist and detective, like a kind of forensic investigator, goes to the town to investigate it. So it's an interesting concept, some good characters, really decent plot, some nice twists. So I'm enjoying that a lot so far and hoping to get that finished this weekend. Okay, let's move on to channel stuff then. So in the last week, you've had a few different things from me. So you had a review of the novel Blood Standard by Laird Barron, which I thought was an absolutely fantastic book. You've had my TBR for December. You've had an unboxing and first impressions video for the Big Me Highbreak e-ink smartphone, which is a really interesting device. I've been using it quite a lot this week, and I can't decide exactly what it's trying to be, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a fun little phone. And then you've also had my response video to a video that somebody put up talking about the fact there seem to be no books for men anymore. So my take on that, not something I particularly agree with. So yeah, I did a video talking about that, which loads of people have commented on. I haven't managed to get through all of the comments for it yet because there were so many, but I'm going to try and do that. In the week ahead then, you've got my November wrap-up. You'll have a book haul from my garage. So as I'm doing the Read What You Own challenge at the moment, where I read 100 books I already own before buying any new ones, I took a trip out to my garage, which is very far away, it's just out there, to go through all the boxes of books I've got in the garage and pluck some out to read for my Read What You Own challenge. I've got a video going up where, so Goodreads did one of their lists, so it was favourite backlist books on Goodreads, so books that have got 4-star or higher ratings, that are, you know, just books that people seem to really, really enjoy. So they did a list of that book, of those books, and I've done a video with my reactions to that list. So it's quite an interesting list. Lots of books on there that people might not expect me to have read, but I have read. So check that out if you fancy seeing me talking about books on Goodreads. And then also you'll get my review of The Witnesses Are Gone by Joel Lane, which is a book I talked about in my wrap-up last week. So hope you enjoyed that. Do let me know what you've been reading this week in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.